Have you ever heard of the Mongolian Death Worm? Locals say it spits acid, lives under the sand, and kills with a single touch. Sounds like a myth, right? Then scientists found a real-life desert creature that fits the exact same description. And that's just the beginning. Most people think mythical creatures are made up, but what they found in the jungle, under the ocean, and frozen in ice tells a different story, because these next 8 cases, they weren't invented, they were discovered. Let's start with the creature that inspired the legend of giant man-eating birds and was big enough to carry off a child. Some say it's red like blood, 2 feet long, buried beneath the sands of the Gobi Desert. It only comes out during the hottest months, and when it does, livestock drop dead, people vanish, and the ground seems to move on its own. Locals call it Olgoi Korkoi, the Mongolian Death Worm. According to stories, it can spit acid, electrocute its prey, and kill with a single touch. For years, people thought it was just desert folklore, until real reports started surfacing. Soviet and Western researchers in the 20th century found evidence of strange underground vibrations, animal deaths with no explanation, and photos of deep, unnatural holes. More recently, biologists discovered a species of worm lizard, amphisbaenians, with nearly identical features. Long, limbless, red-skinned, and able to deliver a venomous bite. Even more disturbing, certain sand-dwelling snakes have specialized glands capable of launching chemical attacks. So maybe the death worm isn't a myth. Maybe it's a real creature, hiding just beneath the surface, waiting. And if it really can kill without being seen, how would you ever know it's already too late? Before we continue with the next mythical creature and uncover even darker truths, I'd like to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support makes all the difference. So, if you're enjoying the video, hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second. Okay, let's get back to it. In ancient Arabian texts, sailors told tales of a bird so massive, it could lift elephants into the sky. Its wings darkened the sun, its claws could crush bones in an instant, and it was feared across Africa and the Middle East. They called it the Roc. At first glance, this sounds impossible. A bird that size couldn't exist, right? Meet Argentavis magnificens, the largest flying bird ever discovered. It lived in South America around 6 million years ago. With a wingspan over 23 feet, it was bigger than a small plane. This predator could glide for miles and dive with terrifying precision. Its prey? Likely large mammals, not elephants, but definitely animals the size of deer, sloths, or small camels. What's even more chilling is this. The bones of these birds have been found near ancient human settlements, which means early humans might have seen them with their own eyes and passed the memory down through story. And the Roc isn't alone. In New Zealand, Haast's eagle ruled the skies. It had talons like daggers and preyed on the moa, a bird the size of a human. In medieval Europe, people believed in a snake so deadly that even its gaze could kill. They called it the basilisk, king of the serpents. It was said to slither through villages, poison wells with its breath, and leave entire towns lifeless. For centuries, scholars and priests feared it. Some even claimed it was born from a serpent's egg, incubated by a rooster. As wild as that sounds, there is a possible origin. Enter the king cobra. Found in South Asia, it can grow over 18 feet long, making it the longest venomous snake in the world. Its venom doesn't just paralyze, it melts the nervous system. Victims stop breathing within minutes, and when threatened, it rears up to nearly eye level with a human, hood flared wide. To someone in the Middle Ages, that was enough to believe a glance could kill. In Africa, the black mamba earned a similar reputation. It moves at frightening speed, delivers a neurotoxic bite, and was responsible for hundreds of deaths before anti-venom existed. But there's more. Fossil records reveal that during the Miocene period, Earth was home to Gigantophis, a massive constrictor that reached lengths over 30 feet. No venom, just sheer crushing power. It hunted in silence, hiding in thick brush or water, before striking with lethal force. The basilisk may not have been one species. It could have been a fusion of every terrifying serpent humans encountered, wrapped into one nightmare that spread across continents. In the swamps and billabongs of Australia, Aboriginal legends tell of a terrifying water creature, the bunyip. Descriptions vary. Some say it has flippers and a dog-like face. Others describe a hulking body like a hippo with glowing eyes. But one detail is always the same. It kills anything that comes too close. These stories aren't just folklore, they're warnings passed down through generations. And there's a reason. Thousands of years ago, Australia was home to some of the most dangerous megafauna the world has ever seen. One of them was the Diprotodon, a wombat the size of a car. Peaceful, yes, but imagine stumbling across its skeleton without knowing what it was. Worse still was Thylacoleo, also known as the marsupial lion. It hunted in trees, had the bite force of a big cat, and specialized in ambush attacks. Add in the Megalania, a 20-foot venomous lizard capable of chasing down humans, and you get a recipe for ancient fear. Early settlers recorded dozens of encounters with something huge, amphibious, and hostile. Even today, strange howls and splashes are reported in remote swamps. It's likely something survived just long enough to burn itself into memory. And that memory became the bunyip. In Arabian and Persian folklore, sailors feared one beast more than any storm, the roc. A bird so massive, it could carry off elephants like they were mice. Its wings blocked out the sun, and when it struck, it shattered bones with a single claw. Sounds like pure fantasy, until you look at the real-world evidence. On the island of Madagascar, explorers once described giant birds whose eggs were bigger than cannonballs. That was no myth. It was the apiornis, or elephant bird. Standing over 10 feet tall and weighing more than 1,000 pounds, it was the largest bird to ever walk the earth. Its eggs held over 2 gallons of liquid, the largest ever discovered. For ancient people, finding one in the wild must have felt like discovering dragon remains. When the Maori arrived in New Zealand, they left behind stories of a flying killer that hunted humans too. The roc wasn't invented. It was a fusion of real aerial predators, amplified through stories and passed on as warnings, because even the sky wasn't safe. For centuries, sailors whispered about a sea monster so massive it could drag entire ships beneath the waves. They called it the Kraken, a tangle of tentacles, eyes like floodlights, and a hunger for destruction. Sounds like a sailor's nightmare, right? In 1853, something strange washed up on a beach in Denmark, a massive slimy carcass with long tentacles. Scientists didn't know what it was, but the locals, they called it the Kraken. That carcass turned out to be a giant squid, a species that had never been seen alive. And for over a century, it remained a mystery, until 2004. That year, Japanese researchers captured the first images of a live giant squid, nearly 25 feet long, with eyes the size of basketballs and tentacles strong enough to crush bone. But the story doesn't end there. The colossal squid, found in Antarctic waters, is even more terrifying. It has hooks on its tentacles, not suckers, and can grow over 40 feet long. It doesn't just swim, it lurks, waiting. Even today, most sightings are rare. These creatures live in pitch-black depths, far beyond the reach of normal exploration. Ancient sailors didn't imagine the Kraken. They likely saw glimpses, massive shapes in stormy seas, tentacles rising from the deep, and told stories to survive the fear. Unicorns, fairy tale horses with glowing horns and magical powers, right? But the original unicorn didn't sparkle. It didn't run through forests or fly over rainbows. It charged through Ice Age landscapes like a tank. Meet the Elasmotherium, a massive beast that roamed the steppes of Eurasia. It stood over 6 feet tall at the shoulder, weighed more than 4 tons, and had a horn up to 3 feet long, growing straight from its forehead. This was no dainty pony. It was a prehistoric rhino, built like a war machine. Its nickname? The Siberian Unicorn. Ancient humans lived alongside this creature. They hunted it. They carved its bones. And some scholars believe that stories of this one-horned giant were passed down for generations, eventually morphing into the unicorn myths we know today. Here's the wild part. Scientists once thought Elasmotherium went extinct over 200,000 years ago. A dangerous Ice Age monster becomes a gentle forest spirit. A survival story becomes a children's tale. But behind every legend, there's a shadow of the truth. And in this case, the truth had a horn sharp enough to pierce through history. As we've seen, these creatures weren't just stories told around campfires. From giant wolves and sky-hunting eagles to serpents longer than buses, many legends were rooted in reality. The truth is, nature was far more terrifying and fascinating than we ever imagined. And what's even more unsettling, we've only just scratched the surface. Fossils keep rewriting history. The deep sea still hides secrets. Entire rainforests remain unexplored. Which makes one thing clear: some myths may not be myths at all. So here's my question to you. Which creature from this list shocked you the most? Or do you believe there's still something lurking out there, undiscovered? Let me know in the comments. I'm always reading your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's hiding in the shadows.
Most people think mythical creatures were just legends, but myths are often built on truth.